You're listening to Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland.
Coming at you live from the Wyatt Law Studios. Welcome back to the Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland. And this is show number 2. It's been an awesome time to get all these great SIDs from across the state in. On this show, we've got coming up Wofford, Coastal Carolina, Presbyterian, Newberry, Charleston Southern, and South Carolina Gamecocks. This is going to be an incredible show. Yesterday's show was fantastic. Had a great night of football last night. And Mike Foster, tell us about what's going on with the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame and the nominees and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Last weekend, we announced our Class of 2020 nomination list, and that ballot is now live on the website.
Voting has started.
Voting has started. SCFootballHOF.org/vote. That's SCFootballHOF.org/vote. And that will give you the list of the guys. We got 50 modern era guys and 10 legacy nominees available to vote. You can write in your own if there's a guy on there that you think should be a part of the Hall of Fame that's not on our list, you can go ahead and write those in this first round that ends December 9th.
Has a write-in ever made it into the Hall of Fame?
Absolutely. Stanley Morgan.
There you go.
Was a write-in 1 year, became a finalist with his write-in votes, and then the following year actually became a full-time member of the South Carolina Football Hall of
fantastic.
Fame.
So if you don't see somebody you want to vote for, then hey, if we miss somebody, let us know. What else you got?
Well, one of the things that you have to do to vote is you have to become a member. So, Levon?
Yes.
Tell us how they can do that.
And why should they do it?
And why?
I think the reason why they should do it because everybody has a skin in this game. You know someone that played from your family, or maybe you had a kid that played, or someone you support in the community. So everybody has a skin in the game, and that's why everybody should become a member. It's easy. You just go on our website, and how we get money, and we need your money. We do it by sponsorships, donations, and memberships. If you're a member, you get certain rights to vote. You get certain rights to talk to us about things that we're doing here with the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. So you got to become it, because I know everybody knows somebody that's played football. So everybody got a skin in the game, and so they should donate, because this is going to help educate, empower, and encourage young people. And who doesn't want to do that?
And most likely, if anyone takes a look at the list, we'll have someone that they connect with on that list. It's very inclusive. It's a very deep list. Someone's going to have a connection with one of those guys on the list. You're going to want them. You're going to want to see them in April when we have our enshrinement ceremony.
That's how we continue to do what we do here. Right. And you've been going into the high schools in South Carolina, especially up here in the upstate, but across the state.
Oh, no question.
Encouraging, empowering, and educating the youth. And so that's how we do it, right?
Well, matter of fact, I have a quick story. We were at the convention the other day, and a young man was like, "Why don't you have Gates on the list, the South Carolina receiver?" I'm like, "Man, you got to become a member. If you become a member, then you can put him on the list." That guy actually joined and became a member.
Well, that's fantastic. Yeah. So you can too, and I tell you what, it's exciting. I love being on the show, love the show. Thanks to all the listeners. Without you guys tuning in, it would not be the great success that it's been, so thank you very much. We have another great group of SID interviews coming up for you right now. So without further ado, let's go to the lines and start these interviews.
This South Carolina football preview show with Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland is brought to you by Hale's Jewelers. Hale's Jewelers has been a proud sponsor of our Collegiate Player of the Year award since 2014 and a local family-owned jeweler since 1856. Go see Lucian Lee and tell him Levon Kirkland sent you for all of your fine jewelry and watch needs. You can find Hale's Jewelers in Greenville on Haywood, down the street from the mall and across the street from Chick-fil-A, or at halesjewelers.com.
Hey, this is Brent Williamson with Wofford College Athletics. You're listening to Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland.
This is the Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland, and this is our pre-football show. We're going to go over some different colleges in the area and talk about their football program and what they expect. Up now, we have Brent Williamson from Wofford University. Hey, Brent, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I meant to say college. Mikey corrected me on that. Will I get a spanking for saying that? Or beat up for saying that?
No, it's a common mistake.
It's a common mistake.
This time.
I'm really sorry. I just want to make sure that I get it right. Okay. First of all, how are you doing today?
Doing great.
Oh.
We've been in camp now for about 2.5, 3 weeks, and getting closer and closer to time to play football.
Man, we're looking forward to football season. I know it's pretty hot out there, but we want to start off. We know you guys are predicted to win the SoCon this year. Could you give us a brief summary of last year's season and what you guys expect for this year?
I mean, obviously, last year we won the Southern Conference for the second year in a row, which is something that we had never done before, winning it back-to-back years. So that was great. Last year was also the first year of Josh Conklin as our new head coach after 30 years with Coach Ayers. So needless to say, to win back-to-back years with two different coaches means it was a smooth transition. We were really happy we won our first-round playoff game over Elon and then lost in the second round to Kennesaw State. So that was our third straight year that we made the playoffs. So things are going fairly well.
Well, good. That's excellent. Now, we have what we call a Blanchard-Rogers trophy, and that's basically our South Carolina Heisman. Can you tell the audience what players we should really watch out for this year?
For us, that's going to be a good question because we, for a lot of people that know Wofford football for the past, I'd say 50 to 60 years, we've been a run-dominant offense. We are going to gradually shift that a little bit this year, so you'll see us throw the ball a little bit more. So. Usually I would say it would be one of our running backs, but this year I think Joe Newman, our quarterback, might be up for that award just because obviously his passing yard numbers will go up significantly from last year.
Wow! So traditionally, run-heavy Wofford is going to be having a quarterback that we got to look out for.
Exactly, and we can still run the ball though.
No question.
So I think that's something that that Wade Lang, our offensive coordinator, and Josh Conklin have sort of looked at and said, hey, we need to be a little more unpredictable, and by having this added wrinkle of actually throwing the ball instead of just handing it off or pitching it, will give us definitely a different look that opponents will have to account for.
Okay, well, cool. Now, Brent, can you tell us what's the best way fans can follow the program and how to get tickets?
I mean, the easiest way to follow us anytime is www.woffordterriers.com. We put a lot of good content up there that also has links to all of our YouTube videos that we put up regarding our programs. And you can also buy your tickets there. WoffordTerriers.com/tickets. It's a pretty affordable season ticket. We look forward to having a lot of people out this year.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Brent. We really appreciate your time and effort, man. I think the Terriers are going to be really good this year, so we're looking for some great things.
Tell us about the season this year. What do you see? Who's I guess each week's the team to beat, but what is your overall outlook or projection?
That's a good question. I mean, we start out, we open August 31st at South Carolina State, which is someone we haven't played in about 15 years. So it's great to have them back on the schedule. And obviously our conference schedule will be tough as always. Our matchups against Samford, the Citadel, Mercer, Chattanooga should all be really, really good contest, along with ETSU. Our game at Furman will come here, which will be our last conference game of the year, and that'll be the 130th anniversary of our first meeting, which is going to be pretty cool have that this year. And then, of course, everyone sees that our FBS game this year is at Clemson, which will be a little bit of a challenge. But we look forward to going over there and seeing how we can compete against them.
Well, great. Again, we want to thank you for the information. I think, as I said before, you guys are going to have a great season. Watch out for those Clemson Tigers. That's going to be tough. But other than that, I think you guys will have a great season. And again, we really appreciate your time and effort. Thank you.
No problem. Happy to be on, and good luck this season.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brett.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Brent Williamson with Wofford College giving you the preview. Very good stuff right there.
How about that? No, not as much triple option from Wofford.
Yeah, gonna switch it up a little bit.
Which a lot of teams are probably like,
right?
because a triple option is very tough to defend. So
That's right.
I'm sure a lot of people are happy about that.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to watch.
Clemson will be glad to get all the triple option people off the schedule.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech and
With Georgia
Wofford.
Tech, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Usually Wofford would help them for Georgia Tech, and in this case, they're both putting in the passing game.
Well, usually that works very well for a team that that goes into a big school like Clemson. You do the David and Goliath thing. You do something different.
Yep.
So not doing that may be a little easier for teams, but Wofford always has a great tradition of football, so this should be fine.
One guy they didn't name, Thad Mangum, is a defensive lineman. He was named an All-SoCon first-team member preseason. So there's another guy that maybe we can look at going through the season for the Blanchard-Rogers.
What's he playing?
He's a defensive lineman.
Nobody cares about defense, though.
They don't? No. Oh, okay. They want the guys that are slinging it around and catching the footballs and
Guys
running the
that are
football.
scoring touchdowns. That's what they care about.
Defense wins championships.
That's all
Defense
we do.
wins championships.
I mean, we called our award the SC Heisman, but we want to make sure we throw in some defensive guys in there every once in a while, too.
Okay,
right.
yeah, I agree with that. I fully agree with that, but I'm just telling you.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. All right. Well, that's it. Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland. We'll be right back.
This is Kevin Davis with Coastal Carolina Athletic Media Relations, and you're listening to the Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland.
Hi, welcome back to the Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland. We're doing the college football preview, and we traveled down to the coast where we talked to our guy, Kevin Davis from Coastal Carolina. Kevin, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, sir. I hope all is well with you. Glad to be here.
Oh, man, we're so happy to have you, and we really appreciate everything Coastal Carolina does for the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. Now, Kevin, you're down the coast. Tell me what's a good spot to eat.
Oh, man, there's so many good seafood places down here. I couldn't even list one for you. I mean, there's so many good spots. I think I've put on weight since moving down here to the coast just because there's so many good places to eat. But, you can't go wrong with anything down on 17 or even on 501. Any of those restaurants will treat you good.
Okay, if I'm a seafood guy, you got to help me out. I'm a seafood guy.
Man, there's so many seafood buffets down along the coast. You can't go wrong there. There's all kinds of, like Captain George's. There's also, you got Shuckers. You got Brother Shuckers. You got all kinds of places like that. And then, of course, you got your seafood chain. Joe's Crab Shack and things like that. So you can't go wrong with seafood down here.
Okay, I'm already getting full now. So let's go into the season. What are you guys looking for in this upcoming season?
We're a very young team. We've got over 60 freshmen and redshirt freshmen on our roster. So I think we're looking just to get better each and every day. We didn't finish the season out on a high note last year. We were one win away from bowl eligibility in our first year to be eligible and couldn't get that last sixth win over the last 4 games. So I think we're hungry. Our guys are hungry and ready to play, and they know that they can play at this level. They just know they got to finish. And so I know we're looking, our leaders are looking to kind of take that next step and show these younger guys, we can play in the Sun Belt Conference and at the FBS level. We just got to be able to finish the entire season out.
Okay. Well, we love players. Tell us some players that we should be watching out for on your team.
If you start on the defensive side of the ball for us, you got Teron Jackson, defensive end. Him and Jeffrey Gunter, who was a nominee for for your guys' award, the Blanchard Award last year. Teron's going to take a huge step this year, moving to a 3-4 multiple base defense. That frees him up a lot on that end and allows him to use his speed and size. And behind him you got Silas Kelly, who would kind of lead our linebacker core again. This year he played injured over the last 4 games last year and still was getting 7 tackles a game. And our secondary is going to be young, but, we expect good things out of them. They're very athletic, but we only got 3 upperclassmen, that are going to be playing back there. So a lot of youth. And then on the offensive side, it starts up front. We got our redshirt junior center and Trey Carter, and we have 3 offensive linemen that started every game last year, and they're back to kind of help secure that line because we have 2 sophomore quarterbacks that are going to be pretty much platooning all season long, and Bryce Carpenter and Fred Payton. So a lot of youth that's behind that offensive line, and then we got one of our best returners is our running back C.J. Marable, who led us in rushing last year with just under 700 yards, and he'll be more of a feature back this year, whereas last year he split time with Marcus Outlow. And then on the outside, we lost a couple good receivers. But again, a lot of youth, so a lot of unknowns, but we like the upside that these guys have.
Now, Coach Chadwell, can you tell us what makes Coach Chadwell the guy for the job? Give us some insight that we don't know anything about him.
Coach Chadwell is a guy that will take the shirt off his back and help anyone. I mean, that's just what he does. I mean, he is a family guy. He's got all these guys believing in family and buying into what him and his staff are saying. That you have to believe in yourself. If you can't believe in yourself or in the guy next to you, then you can't believe in the team. You can't believe in that you're going to win. And it always starts with you in terms of yourself. And that's kind of the motto this year. And it's one of those things where he is out there. The coaching staff are out there running with the guys during the conditioning. They're in it 100% for the guys, and it's beyond football. It's beyond the X's and O's with him, just like it was with Coach Mobley. It's just a more hands-on approach than Coach Mobley was.
Right. Can you tell us a little bit more about the BAM program? We've heard a lot of great things about it.
Yeah, so BAM stands for Be a Man, and it's not sexist by any means. It just means it's for somebody in terms of a person, not necessarily a man, or it could be male or female. A person takes responsibility for themselves and stands on their own 2 feet. So that means basically there's no rules in our football program. It's one standard, and that's BAM. To take responsibility for yourself and stand up and face any type of consequences you have for making a wrong decision. So they don't have any rules technically for missing meetings or anything like that. But if it gets out of hand, then they approach it as you're not taking responsibility for yourself. And that one standard is how the staff and players handle how they go about their business. They stand up on their own 2 feet. They make their own decisions, and they're responsible for those decisions, good or bad.
Well, that's ownership. That's I really like that program.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. There's a lot of ownership and accountability amongst yourself, and then the players themselves hold each other accountable into that standard as well.
Love it very much. Now, you guys have been a good program for a long time, but just for people who don't know, what's the best way fans can follow the program and how to get tickets?
The best way to follow Coastal Football is, you can go on goccusports.com. That's our official website. It's got all the schedules, recaps, information, bios for all the coaches, all the sports, all 19 sports across the board. And then we also have Coastal Football on Twitter, Coastal Football on Instagram for all the social media guys out there that love to follow sports on social media and know what's happening. Basically, the behind-the-scenes stuff is what I like to call it. And then you can buy tickets through goccusports.com. We have a ticket office there that you guys can, that your fans can buy tickets through. We got a new stadium, newly renovated stadium. We've moved up to FBS, and now we have 20,000 seat capacity stadium. We've added suites. We've added a number of seating, third level to our stadium. So it's going to be an exciting time, and you don't want to miss Coastal Football and then the Coach Chadwell era game.
Wow, new stadium, suites. What's a good game that you recommend that any fan should come to this year?
I think the season opener is going to be the first really good game at home. It's versus Eastern Michigan, a bowl team from last year, an up-and-coming MAC program. And you know the Monastic Sunbelt, they have a lot of history in those bowl games, so that'll be an exciting game. And then you can't miss Georgia State coming into town later on in October, on October 12th. And then, of course, Troy comes in later on November 2nd, and that's a big rivalry game that's kind of stirred up the last couple of years with us moving over to Sunbelt. And then we're going to play on prime time on November 7th versus Louisiana on ESPNU. So we encourage fans to come out to that one because then they can be seen on TV.
There you go.
Wow. So your suites, could anybody just come to your suites like Levon Kirkland?
Oh, yeah. Kirkland, we got plenty of tickets available. You can buy a suite ticket, and we got to get you food and beverages and a great seat inside, the air conditioning, so you don't have to sit outside in this hot coastal weather. But, we do have suite tickets are available. You can contact our ticket office, and they'll help you out with that.
Okay, cool. Because I love watching football inside.
Oh yeah, you get the nachos or hot dogs and a nice cold drink inside. Can't beat that.
You're talking my language. You really talking my language. Hey Kevin, we want to thank you so much for coming on today. We really appreciate it.
Guys, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.
Hey, make sure you come back too, okay?
All right, anytime. You guys let me know.
All right, Godspeed.
Thanks so
Kevin.
much. Ball at the beach.
Yeah. Go Sean.
That's right. Go Shants.
This is Greg Hartledge with Presbyterian Athletics, and you are listening to the Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland.
Hello, everyone. We're back here at the Wyatt Law Studio. It's the Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland. And today we're doing our South Carolina college football preview show. As we go right down the road, as we like to say in South Carolina, instead of right, it's Gregory Hartledge from Presbyterian College. Greg, how you doing, my man?
I'm good. How are we doing tonight?
We're doing wonderful. Thank you for asking. Okay, let's get into it. If you had to eat one meal every day for the rest of your life, what would it be?
It's going to be some sort of pasta. I love Italian food.
Oh, come on, go a little deeper with us. Which meal? There's only one meal you can have.
Lasagna.
There we go, lasagna. Tell us your love of lasagna. What's so special about lasagna?
It's just something I always grew up eating, and our family's part Italian, so that was something we always had regularly.
Oh, excellent.
It sounds like he's inviting us for dinner.
Yeah.
Are you inviting us for dinner?
Are you making it?
I can make it, yes. Do you like garlic bread with yours? Salad?
Garlic bread, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I tell you what, there's somebody who makes it, and I would bring it. I don't know if I'm going to make it, but no, let's go for it. Now, give us a brief summary of the upcoming season.
Well, we're obviously in a transition from the Big South to Pioneer football. But if you talk to the coaches, they're not focused on that. They're focused on what's in front of us that starts this Saturday against Stetson, who obviously will be a future Pioneer League team. And it sets up – it's a very interesting schedule because we'll be at Stetson this Saturday, and then we have the bye week.
Mm-hmm.
And then we play 11 straight weeks for the rest of the football season, which includes – playing 5 road games in 6 weeks.
Goodness gracious.
And what's interesting about that with the 5 road games is we go 5 different states: Alabama, North Carolina, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And the round trip mileage from campus to campus, from PC to the opponent, racks up almost 5,700 miles.
Jeez. You guys are going on like a tour.
And that is North Alabama, Campbell, Monmouth. Then we sprinkle in a home game against Kennesaw State, the defending Big South champ. Mm-hmm. And then we head up to Merrimack, just outside of Boston. And then we close that road trip with Hampton. So it's a road-heavy schedule, but the nice part is we close with 3 straight at home.
Well, that's always nice to be playing at home. But, man, that's kind of a brutal schedule. Huh.
And we do get 4 teams that we're going to be playing for the first time this year. 2 of them at home in Eastern Kentucky and St. Andrews. We play Eastern Kentucky on September 21st, and then we close out the season with St. Andrews on November 23rd. And then we also get to travel to North Alabama and Merrimack, and those are both first-time meetings.
Wow.
So it's a road-heavy schedule, but it's a very interesting schedule for sure this year.
Okay, wow. Well, good luck with that, with those 5 road games. I definitely understand that. I coached at Florida A&M, so those road trips can be a little brutal.
Yep. And if you look at, most of them are 3 or 4 hours or longer.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Hampton's our closest one of the year. Okay.
Man. Well, you can always get a good read, though. You can play some video games while you're traveling. So, that's one advantage of kind of traveling on the road. You can catch up on all your reading.
I would love it if we could sprinkle in some home games, because 3 home games at the end of the year is going to be a long homestand.
Wow. Yeah. Well, look, Greg, let's talk about some of the players that we should be watching out for. Is there some guys out there that are real special on your team?
We got a few guys for sure. Mm-hmm. We had 4 guys land on the preseason Big South team.
Okay.
And the way they do it is a first team and then an honorable mention. We had wideout Keith Pearson, who's a junior from he was at Woodruff High School.
Okay.
And last year he led the team with 52 catches and the team high 565 yards. He's our number 1 receiver after we had Deshaun Davis graduate last year. Mm-hmm. So obviously the 2 of them were having both of them, they had some similar numbers. Defensively, we got Colby Campbell, who led the defense and the conference with 90 tackles last season. And he had 4 games with 10-plus tackles last year. To go along with that, another guy is a sophomore, Jarrett Nagy, who, as a true freshman last year, finished with 89 tackles that led, obviously, all freshmen, with 1 off the conference high. And he had 5 games with at least 10 tackles last year. Wow. And he finished second in the Big South Freshman of the Year voting.
Wow. So you guys got some guys to look forward to.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Those 3 right there are 3 guys that are definitely, the offense and defense will be impacted based on how they perform in particular. Obviously not just those 3, but those 3 have been very big for us last season.
And you know what? I think people don't understand that 10 tackles, like in consecutive games, that's tough duty.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And especially considering Jared did that as a true freshman last year.
As a true freshman, yeah, that's. I didn't play any my true freshman year, so and getting 10 tackles, that was even harder when I was in the NFL. So I got to give kudos to those guys.
Yeah, those 3 right there are 3 guys. We also got a few other guys I'll throw out there. Our starting center, Eli Teesling, he was also on that all-conference team. And those 4 also were named to the Phil Steele preseason Big South team, along with defensive backs Dirk Curitan and Rod Haygood.
Oh, well, excellent.
Yeah. Dirk and Rod are both upperclassmen as well.
It sounds like you have the possibility of having a pretty good defense this year.
There's a lot, like I've told people who've asked me coming into this year, there's a lot of pieces that are back from a season ago. We returned, here are my notes. We returned, 14 starters from last season.
Wow.
But the thing I also say is the players that we lost were at key spots.
Gotcha.
Yes.
We had our quarterback graduate, our number 1 wide receiver graduate. We lost a few guys in the defensive line. All of those were obviously seniors. So, and then you lose your starting left tackle. I know that's 1 spot in the OL, but left tackle is obviously a spot that's going to be impacted when you have to change it. for sure.
Greg, tell us a little bit about Coach Spangler and what he brings to the table for Presbyterian, and and how and the impact that he's able to make on the kids there.
He will get the best out of anybody that comes through here. He's a defensive-minded coach. He works primarily with the defense. Obviously, he's involved with the offense, but he works a lot with the defensive backs, and he definitely will tell you when you don't do something right. And I think that's definitely something that's big with any football coach, and obviously he's been around it. I've heard him say a couple of times this preseason, he's been in it for over 30 years. So obviously he's been doing something right in those 30 years.
What's your favorite restaurant in Presbyterian on campus?
On campus or around campus?
Around it.
That's going to be, it's actually where we have our coaches show this season again, is House of Pizza.
Ooh.
House of Pizza.
It's a good spot there.
Nice plug, by the way.
Yeah.
Good job.
That's well done.
Do you get lasagna while you're there?
Sometimes. They got there's a few pizza options there that are really good.
Okay. Well, good. Now, inform the fans. What's the best way that they can follow the program and how to get tickets?
If you go to gobluehost.com, that will get you to all the stories, all the roster, the stats, everything there. There's also a way to get tickets if you go under I believe it's Inside Athletics tab. No, actually there is a specific tab for tickets. And you should be able to get tickets and contact the proper people to be able to get your tickets to come out to the game with our home opener on September 14th.
Okay.
And then at Bluehost FT Ball, the Bluehost FT Ball on Twitter will also provide you with the same links to all the stories as well as any photo and graphic content that we produce around the specific game day.
Okay. Well, hey, we really want to thank you, Greg, for coming on the show. We really do appreciate your time and your energy. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Hey, good luck this year, too.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Greg.
Awesome. Great interview. That Greg Hartledge with Presbyterian College,
Yep.
right down the road. Great football tradition. And, of course, Coach Spangler does a good job with those guys. And I love what he says, about, hey, he's going to get the best out of you. And that's, as a coach, that's all you can really do, right?
Man, he sounds like all the coaches that I was afraid of back in the day when I played.
And they're doing, I don't know if you caught it, but they're doing a really interesting transition there. They're going from the FCS Big South Conference, and they're changing to a D2
Pioneer
conference in Pioneer. Mm-hmm. So you don't hear a lot of schools going down in level, but Presbyterian is, and so it's going to be interesting to see how that transition goes.
Yeah, well, and I thought they had a great, this isn't something we're focusing on. This is something that we're doing, and what we're focusing on is winning football games and getting the best out of our program.
That's right. And that's what they should be doing.
And I also want to give some credit to Mikey Football because, oh my goodness, he has called out the great players. I need the list. When these guys talk about them, they're right here on the list. So, again, we appreciate you, the listener, listening in. Stick around. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland.
This is Randall Stewart, Director of Athletic Communications at Newberry College, and you're listening to Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland, and this is our South Carolina college football preview. And today, one of our first guests is Randall Stewart from Newberry College. Randall, how are you doing, sir?
Doing well. Thanks so much for having me, Levon.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. Now, as always, I like to throw in a icebreaker question. Are you ready for it? Before we get into the meat and potatoes. You ready? All right.
Yes, sir.
Here we go. The zombie apocalypse is coming. Who are 3 current players you want on your team?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Tyler Anderson from the offensive line. Bobby Irby, wide receiver, can help me outrun him. And Keto Jordan, he'll hit him pretty hard for me.
You sound like you got a good team there.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being such a good sport. Our first question is, could you give us a brief summary of the upcoming season?
Yeah, Newberry's got a lot of people back. A few key losses on defense, but I believe it's 8 returning starters on the defensive side of the ball. We're expecting the defense to lead us this year, and that's going to start with Keto Jordan, defensive end senior from Columbia. The offense has a few more question marks. The big key is going to be the quarterback play, I think. Dre Harris out of Malden, he's a redshirt sophomore, played a lot at the QB position this year last year, and he's solidified himself in preseason practice as the number one guy at quarterback. That's going to be kind of the big key this year, is the quarterback play. Experienced offensive line coming back, got some playmakers at wide receiver and running back. It's going to be the quarterback play that's going to determine how this season goes for Newberry.
Excellent. Now, one of the other questions I want to ask you, if I was visiting Newberry, what is one of the games you would really suggest that we would come to?
I think, honestly, the game against UVA-Wise on October 12th. UVA-Wise is in their first season in the SAC this year, so it's a new conference matchup, and that's our homecoming game. Homecoming at Newberry is pretty special. The Newberry tailgate scene is really, really good. The pageantry around homecoming is really fun. The town really comes out to support the team. It's going to be one of those games that's going to be absolutely packed. Setzler Field will be rocking that day. It's a 4 p.m. kick, and that's the one that I would suggest.
Okay, it sounds like a really good game. So, can I get a ticket? Free ticket?
Oh, we can absolutely work that out. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Mike, you have any questions?
Yeah, Randall, you had a remarkable player over the last few years in Jamarcus Henderson. How does the team plan on replacing the production that Jamarcus Henderson provided? And given this guy's production was pretty much as good as anybody in the country, no matter what conference he was in.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's easy to replace the kind of production that Jamarcus provided. I mean, he ended his career top 20 in the history of Division II football in tackles for loss. Just an incredible player. But we do feel pretty good about the defensive end spot. Keto Jordan, who I mentioned, is poised to have a huge year this year. Tyran Dixon is going to anchor things in the middle. He's an experienced player that could have a breakout year as well. So like I said, I mean, you can't really replace that type of production and that type of leader off the field, but they do feel pretty good that it's a very deep unit this year at the defensive line.
Okay. Can you tell our fans what kind of coach Todd Knight is? If we're not familiar with Coach Knight, could you give us a brief summary about Coach Knight?
Coach Knight, to me, is an incredible motivator, and that's where his strengths lie. Coach Knight is a good old boy from Lancaster, South Carolina. The way I always describe him is the only thing he loves more than football is people.
Okay.
And he is a master motivator of that team. He's a defensive-minded coach. He played linebacker at Gardner-Webb and was a defensive coordinator for many years before taking over the head job at Newberry. So he's a defensive-minded guy, tough, a little old school. But he is tremendous at getting those guys motivated, and that to me is what sets him apart from other coaches that I've seen.
Oh, cool. That's very good information. Now, hey, Randall, we really want to thank you for all your time and energy. But one more question before you go. How's the best way fans can follow the program and how to get tickets?
Well, we've always got updated information on NewberryWolves.com. You can also check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram pages at Newberry Sports. And for tickets, you can either order tickets online or you can call our ticket office at 803-321-5152.
Well, Randall, we really appreciate it again. Thank you so much for coming on board. I hope you guys have a great season this year.
Go Wolves.
Thanks so much, Levon.
Have a good one, Randall. We appreciate the time.
All right, Mike. You have a good one.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Seth McCurry with Charleston Southern Athletics, and you're listening to Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland.
Hello, welcome back to the Wyatt Studio. This is the Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland, and we're doing our college football preview. And up next, we got Steph Montgomery with Charleston Southern University. Steph, how you doing, my man?
Not too bad. How about you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for asking. I'm going to give you a little icebreaker question, okay? Is that fine with you?
Hey, go ahead and bring it on.
We're gonna dig really deep here, okay? You ready?
All right.
All right, here we go. What was your least favorite food as a kid?
Oh, that is actually a fantastic one, and my parents can attest to this. Cheese.
Cheese, really?
Yeah.
A kid?
For some reason, I just did not like it. Apparently, I ordered it everywhere up until I was about 3 or 4 years old.
Right.
And then we went to a restaurant one day. My parents told me that I ordered a grilled cheese sandwich there. It came, showed up at the table. I looked at it and said, "There's cheese in here."
Wow.
And refused to eat it. And yeah, ever since then, it's just has not been one of my things.
Wow.
So you're saying no cheese pizza, no cheeseburgers, nothing like that?
I mean, I'm not going to eat an all-cheese pizza, but if there's other toppings on there, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
But yeah, no cheeseburgers, no nothing like that.
I think we just broke some news.
Yeah, that is breaking news. It really is. Okay, now let's get into the meat and potatoes of this interview. Now, can you give us a brief summary of the upcoming season?
Yeah, looking at this upcoming season, if you just look at our schedule, obviously the first 4 games that we have on the schedule are going to be a huge test, especially with our first year head coach Autry Denson. We play 2 ranked opponents that are currently ranked in the top 25 in both polls.
Wow.
And we have a trip against South Carolina, and then we also have a road trip against our local rival here, the Citadel. So it's going to be a big test right away in the season with Coach Denson. But overall, it's a very young team. We returned 49 letter winners from last year's squad, so there's a lot of youth and inexperience. But at the same time, you also have some steady hands, especially on defense with J.D. Sosby, Eddie King, and a few of those guys working in the linebacker core. Offense, it's a huge shift that we've had to make because we've been a kind of a spread option, triple option dating back to the Jamie Chadwell days and with our former head coach, Mark Tucker. Mm-hmm. But Coach Denson brought in what he's called the air raid with an attitude. And from watching the team in the spring and this fall, they're throwing the ball around out there. Our quarterbacks are actually having to make sure they're icing their arms after practice because as soon as they step on the field, they're throwing it.
Well, you know what, though? I think that's probably a good recruiting tool as far as your quarterbacks and receivers that are coming in. Will they be excited about playing in this offense?
The way that Coach actually described it in our media interview this week is that all these kids coming out of high school, they're used to playing in 7-on-7. So
right.
They're used to getting out there and throwing the ball around, catching the ball, playing in open space. And that's what he's hoping that this offense does. Recruited very heavily, got 4 receivers, I believe, in this recruiting class, and a quarterback. All of our quarterbacks are sophomores or younger, so there's a lot of competition, and they want to make sure the best ones playing each week. And a lot of our receivers are young as well, so everyone just kind of wants to get out there and get the ball.
So should we expect a big season from Cameron Brown?
Cameron Brown is kind of the veteran of the group. I kind of tease him from time to time and just say that he's getting older and that he looks old out there, and he kind of laughs and agrees with me. But he's back. He battled through an injury last season, but he's looked really good. The biggest thing that he brings is he brings that size to the outside, and he brings the experience. He's finished in the top 10 in FCS his first 2 years that he was on the field in yards per catch. So you have someone that's not afraid to go downfield and go up for the ball. And just from what I've seen with this offense, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be quick, but he seems like he's their go-to guy, especially when it comes to third down situations as well as near the goal line.
Tell us a little bit more about Coach Denson, his background, and why fans should be excited about having Coach Denson at Charleston Southern.
Coach Denson, I mean, you don't really have to do too much to find a lot about him. The all-time leading running back at Notre Dame, was drafted in the NFL, played with a number of teams, did some internships with the NFL, has a lot of connections all over the place, And he actually just came to us as the running backs coach from Notre Dame. Actually, one of the reasons why he was so late into the hiring process is because Notre Dame just would not stop winning. They ended up
Wow.
winning some playoffs. So we had to wait for him to finish up there before we could officially announce him.
Thank
down
goodness
here
for
at
Clemson.
CSU. Absolutely. Even though he might have wanted the ring, we're glad we got him on campus a week sooner.
That's right.
But the big thing with Coach Denson that he's brought a lot of excitement and energy to the program, and it's something that they've needed, especially when you have a young group like we do this year. There's so much excitement going on just with him, the attitude he's brought, the coaching staff he's brought, and even the improvements that we've been making around the facility with the field, with the brand new video board that we're putting up, post-game fireworks that we're talking about after every game, building and getting back into the community. There's a lot of stuff that he has done, and he's been willing to do it. He's willing to talk with anyone, willing to just speak football. I mean, he's very approachable, and we've loved having him.
Well, you know what? I thought the name looked familiar and sound familiar, but I wasn't quite sure it was the same running back from Notre Dame. That's amazing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what drew you guys to Coach Denson?
I think the biggest thing that we look at, so we are a Southern Baptist school, obviously, so the faith-based perspective is a huge impact. And one of the things that Coach Denson brought, and is actually on the helmets this year, is something called GHEA, G-H-E-A. And he instructs his guys, and he's coached them and worked with them, that they're going to bring a God-honoring effort with a God-honoring attitude every time they step out on that field.
Like that.
And they want to do that in their life as well. So that's one of the things that he brought. And just, you sit down and you talk with him, and one of the first things he brings up is God. It's something that he always kind of refers and goes back to because it's such a huge part in his life. And that's what he's trying to instill with the guys here in Charleston Southern as well.
Oh, well, that is amazing. You guys are trying to make a difference through football, just like the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. That's really awesome. Now, can you tell me something about Charleston Southern University that's wonderful that I would not know about?
Looking at it, Charleston Southern University, you talk about it, it's the Southern Baptist University that people talk about here at Charleston, but the biggest thing about us is the family aspect.
Mm-hmm.
One of the series that we did with each one of our head coaches this year was we talked about faith, family, their sports, and Charleston Southern University, because they all tie in together. It works with the recruiting, how they approach every day here at Charleston Southern. So the family aspect is so huge. Our men's basketball team had shirts that said family on it this year. All of our athletes go out and support each of our programs. We had a soccer match the other day that you had the entire football team there, you had the baseball team there, and you had men's basketball there. And campus really hadn't even opened yet. So all those guys had already come back, and they were all at the game. So everyone's there, and it really is a family aspect. You walk down the hallway, and you're greeted by the professors, the student athletes, and the staff. And it's really a unique experience being here, is the fact that you walk by and you know someone because you've already interacted with them in so many different ways.
Wow, that's incredible. And really, that's what athletics is all about, that family closeness and that faith. We really thank you so much, Steph, for being here today. We really appreciate your time and energy. And before you leave, how's the best way fans can follow the program and how to get tickets?
Best way would be to visit our website at csusports.com, as well as our Twitter account at CSU Sports, Facebook's at CSU Sports, Instagram is at CSU Bucks. We wish we could have gotten at CSU Sports for Instagram, but unfortunately Colorado State got it before we could.
Right, man.
Yeah, the negotiations have fallen through. We have not been able to find a way to get it. But those are probably the primary ways. We actually have an entire social media wall on our website, csusports.com, as to how you can follow every single one of our teams, as well as to get tickets on our website as well. We actually have put out a release this week on how fans can go ahead and buy their tickets for our game against Citadel.
Awesome.
So that's out there, and we are getting ready for that game down the road as well. But that's probably the best way to go ahead and follow and keep up with the Bucks.
Well, thank you so much for your time and energy. And I need to ask you, do you still not like cheese?
You can ask my wife. It's still not my favorite thing. I will tolerate it.
Right.
But she eats it for me. My 15-month-old son eats it for me. So
right.
They take care of it, so I don't have to worry about it.
There you go.
Make sure you got some pepperoni on that pizza.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you again. We really appreciate it. Have a good season this year, okay?
Hey, thank you.
All right.
Seth, go
Bye.
Bucks.
Take care.
Yeah, good luck.
All right, Seth Montgomery from Charleston Southern University. Great interview, guys, and y'all stick in there with us, and we'll be right back. The Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland.
This is Steve Fink, Communications Director for Gamecock Athletics, and you're listening to Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland, and this is our South Carolina College Football Preview Show. And on the line right now, we have Steve Fink from the University of South Carolina. Hey, Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Levon.
Awesome.
Appreciate you having me on.
Oh, man, we really appreciate you being on. Thank you very much. Now, I usually have a icebreaker question. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
All right, you ready?
Right.
It's nothing hard. Here we go. You have to sing karaoke. What song do you pick?
Probably have to go with, let me think for just a second. I don't know, maybe Freebird by Skinner.
Freebird.
There you go.
Yeah, I like Freebird. It's like the wrestling.
Everybody joins in with that, so that'd be a good one.
There you go.
They can drown me out a little bit.
The choir have to help you out. I'm from a minister's family, and sometimes if you sing a solo, the choir will help you out. So when you're singing this song, you're saying that everybody's going to help you out?
That's what I'm thinking.
It seems like you have a good voice, though. You sure?
It's good in the shower.
It's always better in the shower. It's always better in the shower.
Great acoustics.
Yes. Hey, Steve, can you give us a brief summary of the upcoming season, please?
Sure. Obviously, we're excited about the season coming up. We have a lot of veterans on the team, a lot of seniors. I think we had 11 guys on the Senior Bowl watch list. So that tells you a little bit of some of the veterans we have here, some guys who played a lot of football for us. So we're excited about it. Obviously, when you look at our schedule, it's a little bit daunting if you take a look at it in its entirety with 5 or 6 teams that are in the top 10 or 11 in the country right now preseason. But you never know how that's going to turn out, how that plays out. And some teams are better than they're projected. Some teams not as good as maybe their preseason projections are. So we'll just try to take it one game at a time. We got a big one with North Carolina opening the season, and obviously that's a big game for us, an SEC-ACC matchup, and so we're looking forward to that.
No question about it, Steve. Now, do you guys have the toughest schedule, or you guys in the top 2? Which one is it?
Well, we'd like to claim we have the toughest schedule. Schools would probably think that they do, and
right.
Again, it's all preseason projection at this point, and sometimes it plays out that way, sometimes it doesn't. So we'll just have to see how it works out, and not get too caught up in that. And obviously, we look at that as an opportunity for us to play the best teams in the country. And when you come to South Carolina, you come to schools in this part of the country, obviously you're expected to play against the best, and that's what you want to do and challenge yourself each and every week, and we certainly have that opportunity this year.
Well, no doubt you guys are really challenging yourself this year. Now, if you're from South Carolina, you're very familiar with most of the good players that you have. Could you tell us a player that's kind of under the radar that we should be looking out for?
I think a guy who really played well in fall camp that maybe you haven't heard a lot about yet is Shi Smith out of Union, South Carolina. Obviously we lose Deebo Samuel, which was a big part of our offense and a great playmaker for us. But we think that Shi maybe has that ability to step in, maybe a little not known quite as much as a Brian Edwards on the other side. Brian's going to be at the top of most of our career receiving list when he's finished his senior year this year. So I think there's an opportunity there maybe for Shi to really have a breakout season and maybe put up some big numbers for us. Defensively, I think TJ Brunson at that linebacker spot and a lot of positive for TJ from the media, and obviously deservedly so. But sometimes the guy next to the guy becomes a big guy for you. So looking for big things out of him as well.
Hey, Steve, this is Mike. Probably the question that everybody in the Upstate is wanting me to ask is, how's Tavian Feaster doing, being a part of the program and fitting in with his new teammates?
Yeah, I think he's doing well. I think he's fit in real well, and I think it's made that whole running back room more competitive. Not that it wasn't anyway, but you bring in a guy like him, and with the experience he has, and being a senior, and being through the wars, if you will, I think it just adds more depth for us there, and that's a position, as you know, when you go through a season, it's tough for just one guy or maybe two guys to handle the load all season long, because you're going to get dinged up. It's just part of the game. So having him there, I think he's fit in well with the team. There hadn't been any issues from that regard, and obviously it's a little unique. It's probably more unique for the fans, quite frankly, than it probably is for him. He's playing football. He puts on the pads just like everybody else each day and goes out and works hard, and I think it's probably more difficult maybe for the fans to understand that. You see it all the time in pro ball where guys go from one team to another and that sort of thing, and don't seem to miss a beat. So it's just kind of unique, and obviously going from a rival, it's a unique situation, but quite frankly something that we may see more of going down the road with the transfer portal.
Well, Travis did a great job for Clemson University. I'm sure he's going to do a great job for you guys. Is it Tavian?
Tavian Feaster.
Why did I say Travis? Tavian. Tavian did a great job for you guys. I'm sure he's going to do, a great job for us. So I'm sure he's going to do a great job for y'all. And I say us because I am a Clemson guy, I have to admit. But could you tell people, and I've been to William Bryce Stadium, could you tell people who've never experienced William Bryce, what's the best thing about William Bryce Stadium?
I think the entrance, our 2001 entrance.
Oh, yeah.
Sandstorm is ranks up there with just about anybody. Obviously, they have a good entrance at Clemson as well, but I think when you come to South Carolina, and it makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up when that 2001 kind of climaxes, the team runs on the field at the beginning, just prior to the start of the game, and then Sandstorm's kind of something's really picked up, and it's you can't help but get excited for football when that's played.
Well, I experienced that as a player, and I have to admit that 2001 is kind of rocking there. It really is.
It gets going pretty good now.
Yeah, it really does. Tell people who really don't know, how's the best way fans can follow the program and how to get tickets?
Well, obviously there are a lot of ways to follow the program. When you're in the state of South Carolina, basically they're just the two major programs that get a lot of media attention. So there's plenty of opportunities to follow, the different outlets that cover us. As far as tickets, GamecocksOnline.com has all kinds of ticket packages available. Obviously, season tickets are available, and then we have different kind of passes. A flex pass is just for football, and then what we've started this year is a new Go Pass. $25 a month gets you into games, any game basically for any sport throughout the year, which is an outstanding deal, and so we're excited about that. And a lot of people I know have already jumped on that program. So. It's obviously we'd like them to go to our website and get all the latest information. It's usually updated and accurate, and you can trust it, I guess, as much as anything.
Steve, are you ready for the year? Are you ready for the season?
I'm excited. I'm excited to get it going, and talking season's over, and we're ready to. I know the team's ready to see somebody in a different colored uniform across the way and hit somebody else for a change, and see what happens here. We're definitely excited.
No doubt, no doubt. One last question real quick, Steve. Tell us a little bit about Coach Muschamp, and obviously the recruiting starting to pick up again for you guys. Maybe I would say getting close to what Spurrier was doing in his heyday as far as some of the young kids that are coming in now and wanting to play for the program. What do you think is the attraction to South Carolina, and what Will Muschamp is being able to sell there?
Well, I think there's a lot of opportunity to play early here yet. We're building. We're not at quite a level maybe that some schools are in terms of having 5-star built on top of 5-star different positions. So you can come in and get an opportunity and maybe play right away. We got some kids that came in this year that are already on our 2 deep going in the start of the season. I think there's an opportunity there. We talked about the schedule and being able to play the best teams in the country and put yourself up against that. So a lot of guys come in looking to play at the next level, so you're going to get tested against the best in the country and to prove that you are capable of playing at that next level. The players seem to really like Coach Muschamp. He's a player's coach, and it's a good staff that works extremely hard. You're in Columbia, which is obviously the state capital, so there's a ton of things to do in Columbia. It's a great location. We got great fans and tremendous support. And obviously, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our new Long Family facility, football operations facility that just opened in January, and what a great benefit that is. And I know the players just love being over there, and with the practice fields and the indoor practice right there, it's everything you need to have success. And so we're excited about the future of the program.
Well, Steve, we want to wish you a whole lot of luck this year, man. We really appreciate you being on our show. Thank you so much. And will you come back if we invite you back?
I've been more than happy to come back, Levon.
Thank you so much, Steve. We really appreciate that. Have a wonderful day, okay?
All right, you too now.
Spurs up.
Go Cox.
Very cool, very cool. So, Steve Fink, AD with the SID with South Carolina Gamecocks. I tell you, that sandstorm is really a very cool. It gets the whole stadium rocking. It's an exciting place to play football.
It is. It really is.
I remember as a player, that was one of my favorite parts about William Bryce is listening to 2001, seeing them come in. It was kind of cool. It really was.
Yeah. So that was great. Great interview. So we'll be right back. Stick with us.
This South Carolina football preview show with Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland is brought to you by Hale's Jewelers. Hale's Jewelers has been a proud sponsor of our Collegiate Player of the Year award since 2014 and a local family-owned jeweler since 1856. Go see Lucian Lee and tell him Levon Kirkland sent you for all of your fine jewelry and watch needs. You can find Hale's Jewelers in Greenville on Haywood, down the street from the mall and across the street from Chick-fil-A, or at halesjewelers.com.
Welcome back to the Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland. It has been an awesome 2 days, an awesome show. Football is back in officially. Fantastic. And of course, at the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame, as you know, we first of all lead ourselves and then we lead others. And that's really one of the big things. And of course, Levon's been a leader everywhere you've been, being recognized by the Ring of Honor this year. Your name's going to be on the stadium at Clemson. They're retiring your jersey. Just more evidence of the success and the leadership that you possess. And of course, we're trying to lead young people. And you have a segment here called the Inside Look, where we come to you and you tell us a little nugget of leadership. And so without further ado, to you, Levon, with the Inside Look.
Thank you for that warm welcome. We talk about disadvantages and advantages, right? Everybody's heard the story of David and Goliath, correct? Now, there's a little spin on David and Goliath because everybody usually think that Goliath had the advantage, but really not so much.
What?
I'm telling you, I'm going to tell you why.
All right.
Because in this story, if you think about it, Goliath had all this gear on. He had the shield, the armor, the helmet, and all that. And when Saul tried to give David that, he was like, no, I don't need that. I don't need that. I just need what God has given me. So what he did is he went out there, and essentially what he really did was he had mostly, like they talk about the stone, but look at the stone as a baseball. And somebody like Randy Johnson throwing a baseball 95 miles per hour at your head. What kind of damage do you think that's going to do? It's going to knock you out. I mean knock you out. So that's basically what David had. David had the advantage. Even though he was smaller in stature, really, he had advantage. So what I'm saying here, a lot of times we're going to have advantages and disadvantages. We just got to understand how to use our advantage. Even though it may look like a disadvantage to everybody out there, a lot of times our disadvantages are our key and something that we can use.
I tell you what, perspective, that is so critical and cool to hear you talk about that, because that's the perspective of a champion, to be able to say, hey, what appears to be a disadvantage for me
It's really not.
is really not. It's really an advantage.
All right.
And that was David's outlook, and of course,
Yeah.
that's pretty good stuff right there.
Even Georgia Tech. You think about when Georgia Tech first came in the league, man, they ran that triple option and nobody could stop it. You wouldn't think that they had the advantage, but they really did.
They did have
Yep.
the advantage. So
No
it's
question.
that's a good point. So, and perspective. So when you look and you start thinking and everybody's telling you that you're not going to be successful because of the great disadvantage you're in,
Yeah, you actually maybe have the advantage.
that's awesome. Look for it. So Mike, you did a great job yesterday talking about this Blanchard-Rogers trophy. This trophy, we appreciate. It's been specially commissioned for the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. It is the South Carolina Heisman, Blanchard-Rogers, 2 Heisman Trophy winners from South Carolina in our Hall of Fame. This ballot comes out mid-October after some scouting. We've got some early people. Yesterday, you talked about some of the smaller schools. I mean, some amazing talent. I mean, unbelievable. So I can't wait today. Tell the listeners some great talent from South Carolina not playing in the state that we are scouting here at the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame for the Blanchard-Rogers Award.
Well, and just to give a little bit of perspective, there are over 200 South Carolina natives that are playing football outside the state.
Wow.
So when we're looking at this list, it's pretty inclusive. There's a lot of people on that list. That doesn't even include all the guys on the roster here in South Carolina that are playing for an in-state school.
South Carolina has some great talent in football.
No question.
And that makes things really exciting. And so throughout the year, we're going to be scouting these guys. And I encourage everybody to follow us on social media during the college football season.
How can they do that?
At SCFHOF on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, because we're going to be updating people on how these players are doing throughout the season. And if they do have a great week, then we try and spotlight those guys on our social media. So if you want to see your guy in lights, South Carolina Football Hall of Fame is where to go. SC Football HOF on our social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
All right, great. So that's how to follow us. Now, talk about some of these guys.
So everybody knows the name Kelly Bryant.
Kelly Bryant.
From Calhoun
Not a shock
Falls
there.
and former Clemson quarterback who's now at Missouri, going to be the starter there.
Great athlete.
And
great
we
young
all
man.
know what he did at
No question.
Clemson before he left. And he did a great job, won a lot of games for Clemson. And I suspect that he'll be able to do a lot for Missouri as well. They're very excited over there. He from what I understand, he's become a leader there, and people are following him. They love Kelly Bryant. He has a great personality. We happen to know Kelly a little bit.
Yep.
Great personality, and I think he's going to be able to really let loose in Missouri.
That's an upgrade.
Coach Chad Morris, I mean, he's
So
familiar territory there.
Yeah. So we're excited about seeing what Kelly does in Missouri. And then Troy Pride, senior DB out of Greer High School, starting corner at Notre Dame. And one of the things that's cool about him is that he was named to the Bruce Feldman's Freaks list. And so if you're ever on a Freaks list when you're a football player, that's a good thing.
Freaks list.
But he was said to have run a 4.32 40 during school's workouts earlier in the year. So
that's super fast.
That guy can fly, and if you're a DB and you can fly, that's a good thing to have. If you know Deion Sanders, that works out pretty good for him.
Right, no question.
But to have that speed, and he's a good size DB as well. But here from Greer High School, they're expecting big things out of him as a starting corner at Notre Dame as a senior, and he should be an NFL prospect at the end of the season. And then staying in the secondary, Nick McLeod, a senior DB out of Rock Hill, playing for NC State, also a starter there. Started 11 games as a junior from South Point High School, where you may know of the name of Davion Clowney and Stephon Gilmore.
Wow.
Great players there.
And if you don't know, they're like all related. It's crazy.
Football City.
That's
Rock
right.
Hill, Football City.
That's right. Everyone's a cousin.
Yeah.
And they're all awesome at football. But He was just named a captain at NC State and is on the Senior Bowl watch list, which is a great start to the season for Nick. And so I'm excited to see how Nick does. Had a great season last year as a junior. Was one of the leaders there in the secondary for NC State. So he's one of the big school guys, Power 5 guys that we'll see playing against Clemson here this season. He'll have his hands full, but we'll get to see how well he stacks up against those big wide receivers at Clemson.
Well, that's fantastic. Those are some of the people that you can watch out for. And, of course, if you know some people we need to watch, we're scouting them. We're not missing them. But feel free to let us know. Levon, as a player, as a coach, as a scout, tell us this Blanchard-Rogers, when you look at that, who do you think should win the Blanchard-Rogers trophy at the end of the day?
Man, he's got to be a player. But more important than that, he has to have great character, has to be a leader not only on the field but also in his community. So we're looking at not just a great football player, but we're looking at a great citizen as well.
That's a great, well-rounded, all-around leadership. It's fantastic. I tell you, it's such an honor, and this show has been fantastic. This week is great. Thanks to all of you. We appreciate the sponsors. We appreciate our members. If you hadn't yet, go ahead and join up, scfootballhof.org. We're all members, my whole family, my wife, my 2 daughters, they're all members. We're supporting members. Hey, it's less than $10 a month, and it's a small amount to you. Makes a big difference to all of us. We really appreciate that. So thank you. Thanks to Evan Tripp. He does a wonderful job producing the show. We appreciate the guys at Prominence Media helping us out, and we're making a difference through football. And join us next time here on the Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland.
You're listening to Inside Blitz with Levon Kirkland.